Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for another session of our CISSP study group. I'm B-Dubs, and I'm thrilled to dive into this material with you. Whether you're preparing for the CISSP exam or you just love cybersecurity, you're in the right spot. Your dedication to learning is seriously inspiring, and I can't wait to tackle these topics together. In our last session, we dug into Domain 3, Objectives 3.5 and 3.6. If you missed it, no worries. I've got a playlist ready for you to catch up whenever you want. I'll toss that link into the chat now. Today we're tackling some key topics from Domain 3, specifically Objectives 3.7, Understand Methods of Cryptanalytic Attacks, 3.8, Apply Security Principles to Site and Facility Design, and 3.9, Design Site and Facility Security Controls. This stuff ties digital and physical security together. Think cracking codes to steal data and securing server rooms from real-world threats. Nailing these will help you crush exam questions on breaking encryption and protecting buildings. So let's get started. Let's jump right into exam objective 3.7, Understanding Methods of Cryptanalytic Attacks. So what is cryptanalysis anyways? Think of cryptanalysis like being a detective trying to crack a complex puzzle. Just as detectives look for clues and patterns to solve cases, cryptanalysts examine encrypted messages to uncover their secrets. It's the art and science of breaking cryptographic systems to reveal either the original message or the key used to encrypt it. This field has a fascinating history. During World War II, codebreakers were using cryptanalysis to decode communications, significantly impacting the war's outcome. Today, cryptanalysis has evolved into a critical cybersecurity tool, helping us identify weaknesses in our security systems before attackers can exploit them. So let's break down the three main areas that cryptanalysts focus on. First, there's algorithm analysis, examining the mathematical foundations of encryption systems. Then key vulnerability assessment is testing the strength of your encryption keys. And finally, implementation analysis is finding the weaknesses in encryption that is actually used in systems. With these fundamentals in mind, let's explore how attackers actually try to break encryption. This knowledge is crucial because it shows us how to build stronger defenses and select more secure encryption methods. So let's explore how attackers try to break your encryption systems. First, there's brute force, where they're testing every possible key until one works. With modern computing, short keys can be cracked in hours, while longer keys could take centuries. These attacks require significant computing power to test every possible key combination. The best defense here is to use long encryption keys of at least 256 bits. Next is ciphertext only, where attackers only have the encrypted messages. Think World War II codebreakers analyzing those communications from the enemy. They look for patterns to guess the key. Ciphertext-only attacks need large samples of encrypted data to analyze. To defend against these, implementing a strong encryption algorithm is crucial. Known plaintext attacks are more powerful since attackers have both the original and encrypted text, like having part of the decoded message. And in chosen plaintext and ciphertext attacks, attackers can encrypt or decrypt specific messages to study the output. This is similar to how Allied forces used captured Enigma machines to understand German encryption. For both known or chosen plaintext attacks, the attacker needs direct access to the encryption system itself. The key defense here is maintaining secure key management practices. For the math experts, we have linear and differential cryptanalysis. Linear tracks patterns in data, while differential examines how small input changes affect the output. Linear and differential attacks require advanced mathematical expertise to execute. These can be prevented by using algorithms specifically designed to resist cryptanalysis. And finally, factoring attacks. They target the RSA encryption by trying to factor huge prime numbers. These are extremely difficult with our current computers, but quantum computers could change this dramatically. The defense is to use sufficiently large prime numbers when generating your keys, typically resulting in key lengths of 2048 bits or greater. and to consider implementing quantum-resistant algorithms when they become available. The key takeaway here is that different attacks require different resources and expertise. Understanding these helps us choose appropriate countermeasures and encryption methods. Cryptanalysis isn't the only method to find keys. Attackers might also exploit system flaws with these cryptographic attacks. Let's explore each attack and its defenses. First, there's the man in the middle, or MITM, where the attacker intercepts communications, impersonating both sides. Like a fake Wi-Fi hotspot grabbing your login information. The defense here is to implement strong certificate validation and secure protocols like TLS with proper configuration. Then we have replay attacks, where the attacker steals data, like your login credentials, and then replays it later to sneak in. To defend against these, use timestamps and nonces, which are one-time random values, to ensure each authentication attempt is unique. With side channel attacks, these skip the code completely, and they watch the system's power use or timing data to guess the keys. The defense is to implement constant time operations and physical security measures to prevent power analysis. Then we have dictionary and rainbow table attacks. Dictionary attacks use common words to guess passwords, while rainbow tables use pre-computed hashes to crack them faster. The defense here is to use strong password policies, modern hashing algorithms like SHA-256, and proper password salting. With social engineering, the attacker might trick someone into sharing the key through bribes, threats, or phishing emails. You should implement comprehensive security awareness training and strict verification procedures for sensitive requests to defend against social engineering. And finally, ransomware locks your data with encryption and demands payment to unlock it. To defend, you should maintain secure backups, implement robust access controls, and have an incident response plan ready. Remember, strong encryption is only half the battle. Our systems and people need multiple layers of defense to stay secure. Let's zoom in now to Kerberos attacks. First, let's understand how Kerberos works. It's a network authentication protocol that uses tickets and timestamps to verify identities. When you log in, you get a ticket granting ticket, or TGT, that helps you request service tickets for specific resources, kind of like getting a visitor badge that lets you request access to different rooms. However, its reliance on hashes creates some vulnerabilities. The most severe is the golden ticket attack, where attackers steal the KRBTGT hash, which is the master key. Using tools like Mimikatz, they can forge any ticket they want. It's like stealing the master key to every door in the building. Prevention requires regularly rotating that KRBTGT password at least twice, 24 hours apart, and monitoring for tickets with suspiciously long lifetimes. A silver ticket attack is more targeted. The attacker steals a service account's hash to forge tickets for specific resources. While more limited in scope than golden tickets, they're harder to detect because they bypass the domain controller. To prevent this, implement strict service account security, enable advanced audit policies, and monitor for unusual service ticket patterns. With pass the hash attacks, attackers grab a password hash from memory, often using tools like Mimikatz, and then they use that to create legitimate Kerberos tickets. These are particularly dangerous in Windows environments where hashes are stored in the LSASS process memory. The big lesson here is to guard those hashes like gold. If you lose them, your system is wide open. To protect against these attacks, you should rotate your service account passwords regularly and implement a documented KRBTGT reset procedure. Monitor for suspicious ticket granting activities and unusual ticket lifetimes. Use Protected Users Group for privileged accounts. Enable LSASS protection and credential guard to prevent hash extraction. And implement PAM, Privileged Access Management Solutions. Next, we have fault injection attacks. These attacks deliberately disrupt hardware or software to bypass security mechanisms. There are three main types. The first is voltage glitching, where the attacker temporarily changes the power supply voltage to make a chip skip security checks. Next is clock glitching, manipulating the system clock to cause calculation errors. And third is electromagnetic interference, using targeted electromagnetic pulses to affect circuit behavior. Think of it like causing a security guard to momentarily look away while someone sneaks past. These attacks often work in conjunction with side-channel attacks, as we discussed earlier. While one attack creates the distraction, the other steals the secrets. To protect against fault injection, systems can implement multiple layers of defense, including voltage monitors and sensors to detect power manipulation, clock integrity checks, and secure boot processes, tamper-resistant packaging, and environmental sensors, hardware security modules or HSMs for critical operations, and redundant calculations and error detection codes. Remember, these attacks don't break the cryptographic math. They break the hardware or the software implementing it. This makes them particularly dangerous for smart cards, HSMs, and other embedded security devices. Now here's a sneaky one: temporary files attacks. When you encrypt or decrypt data, the cryptographic key and sensitive data can remain in various places, such as your RAM, swap files, and page files. If attackers gain access, they can extract this information from memory or disk, like finding your house keys carelessly left out on a table. This gets even more dangerous with cold boot attacks, where attackers physically freeze RAM to preserve data after a power loss. Different operating systems will handle this differently. Windows uses pagefile.sys, while Linux uses dedicated swap partitions. To protect against these attacks, you should use secure memory wiping after cryptographic operations. Implement protected memory spaces, disable or encrypt swap files, and use hardware security modules, or HSMs, for key operations. And remember, just like you wouldn't leave sensitive documents in your trash, always ensure temporary files containing cryptographic material are properly cleared. Now, not every attack goes after the math behind cryptography. Implementation attacks target sloppy setups. These attacks exploit how cryptography is put into practice, rather than the algorithms themselves. Even solid cryptography like RC4 fails if it's implemented poorly, like WEP's weak initialization vectors. Common vulnerabilities include weak key generation that creates predictable keys, poor input validation leading to buffer overflows, and error messages that leak sensitive information. To prevent against these attacks, always follow cryptographic implementation best practices. Use well-tested, vetted cryptographic libraries, and conduct regular security testing of your implementations. The point here is even the best cryptography fails if it's built wrong. Now, have you ever heard of the birthday paradox? With just 23 people in the room, there's a 50% chance that 2 of those people share a birthday with the same month and day. It's wild, right? Birthday attacks use the same probability principle in cryptography. Instead of birthdays, they're hunting for hash collisions, which is when 2 different inputs create the same hash output. Now here's why it matters. Finding collisions becomes way easier than brute force. You only need about the square root of the total possible hashes. For digital signatures, this is dangerous because an attacker could create a fake document with the same hash as a legitimate one. The fix here is to use cryptographically strong hash functions with large output sizes. There's a reason we stopped using MD5 and SHA-1. Birthday attacks broke them. Today's best practice is using modern hashes that resist these attacks, like SHA-256 or better. Now let's wrap this up. Cryptanalysis is the study of breaking or analyzing cryptographic systems and security measures. Understanding how attackers approach cryptanalysis is crucial for building effective defenses. Cryptographic systems can become vulnerable over time as new attack methods are discovered, so staying up to date on the latest developments is key here. Relying solely on encryption is just not enough. A layered defense in-depth approach is required for robust security. And remember, even the strongest cryptographic algorithms can fail if they're not implemented properly. Careful attention to implementation details is incredibly essential. Now let's move into exam objective 3.8, and let's talk physical security. protecting the real world, people, buildings, servers, from threats like theft, fires, or floods. This ties right into the CIA triad, where confidentiality means keeping intruders out, integrity stops tampering, and availability keeps systems running. But here's the deal, human safety comes first. No security plan can ever put lives at risk. Picture securing a data center or an office. It's not just about the technology, it's about safeguarding the spaces where that technology lives. So what's out there threatening us? A few examples include theft, where someone steals a laptop or server; espionage, where spies are hunting down your secrets; dumpster diving, where an attacker is digging through your trash for passwords or plans. And there's shoulder surfing, which is someone sneaking a peek at your PIN or screen from behind you or where you don't notice them. We have HVAC attacks, where an attacker might sabotage air systems to overheat servers or slip inside the server room. And finally, social engineering, where an attacker might trick staff to get in the door. Your defenses need to be able to counter every one of these situations. Security surveys are your roadmap for protecting facilities effectively. Think of them as your physical security risk assessment, a systematic way to identify and address vulnerabilities. The process here includes threat definition. What could hit us? Theft, floods, espionage, name it. Think about that worst case scenario and define it. Target identification. What's valuable? Are servers, people, wiring closets? Pinpoint them. And facility characteristics. Where's the weak spot? Are there too many exits? Is there a flood-prone basement? You might be wondering who conducts these surveys. You'll need a team that includes security professionals to lead the assessment, facility managers who know the building inside and out, and then department heads to identify critical assets. For example, when surveying an office building, you might document all entry points and their current security measures, map out locations of valuable assets and sensitive areas, and assess current security controls and their effectiveness. Timing matters here too. You should conduct full surveys annually with additional assessments after any major facility changes or renovations, security incidents, or changes in the threat landscape. Document everything thoroughly. Detailed reports should include findings, recommendations, and timelines for implementing controls. Remember, surveys are your foundation for aligning security controls with real threats, always putting people first. Let's explore the key security survey terms, organized by category to show how they work together. First, we have people and safety, which includes life. This is our top priority. Always protect your people first. For example, emergency evacuation routes and procedures take precedence over asset protection. Then security personnel includes guards, reception staff, and security operators who maintain facility safety. Then we have our infrastructure and assets. This includes property, which is the building and its security controls, from badge readers to surveillance systems. Access points are all of the entry and exit locations requiring constant monitoring and access control. When it comes to wiring closets, we have to secure these. Our network gear is a treasure trove here. Server rooms are the IT core. Think biometrics and cameras for security. And then we have our environmental controls, which includes HVAC, power, and water systems that keep our facilities running. And finally, we have operations and compliance. This includes operations that keep the business running with business continuity plans and disaster recovery plans. For example, redundant systems ensure continuous operations. Media storage, where our backups need fireproof and flood-safe homes. Evidence storage houses our legal documentation. Chain of custody is everything here. And then restricted work areas should have authorized access only with badges or pins. Now here's a big one in physical security, the layered defense model, or defense in depth. Picture an onion. It has multiple layers, each one harder to break through. Let's break it down by layer. Physical controls come first. These include fences, gates, and bollards. They keep intruders out. Technical controls form the next layer with cameras watching everything, access control systems controlling doors, and intrusion detection systems raising alarms. Administrative controls round it all out with security policies, guard patrols, and incident response procedures. Now here's why it works. If someone climbs that fence, cameras will catch them. If they dodge the cameras, the guards will respond. For example, a data center stopped an attack when their perimeter alarm failed, but security cameras spotted the intruder, and on-site guards responded before they reached any critical areas. The key here is security in depth, not just stacking controls, but making them work together. Think about it. A fence alone is just an obstacle, but if you combine that with motion sensors and rapid response teams, you've got real security. The number of layers depends on your risk assessment. High-value targets need more layers than the break room. It's smart, right? Layers are your secret weapon here, each one buying time and increasing the chances of stopping threats before they reach your assets. Now, building a secure facility starts with where you put it. Site selection is huge. You have to consider the visibility. Can you see around the place? You don't want any hidden corners for troublemakers. Consider the accessibility. Is it easy for authorized employees, but a nightmare for intruders? Consider proximity to emergency services and employee access. Consider the resilience. Can it stand up to natural threats? This includes floodplains. Avoid low-lying areas prone to flooding. Earthquake zones. Assess seismic risk and building codes. And severe weather corridors. Consider tornado or hurricane risk. And finally, consider the infrastructure. Evaluate local services reliability for power grid stability, internet connectivity options, and emergency response times. Then we've got CPTED. This is crime prevention through environmental design. It uses the environment to stop crime before it starts, and it consists of 3 core ideas. First is natural surveillance. Strategic window placement for clear sightlines, open floor plans to eliminate blind spots, and well-lit spaces with no hiding places. Next is natural access control. You can use landscaping to guide foot traffic to obtain a single main entrance with controlled access points, and clear pathways with good visibility. Finally is natural territorial reinforcement. This includes clear property boundaries with fencing, professional signage marking restricted areas, and maintain landscaping showing active management. Before finalizing any site, conduct a thorough risk assessment, considering all of these factors. Is your data center in a flood zone? Disaster might be waiting to happen. Now let's get practical with secure facility design. In a parking lot, cameras and bright lights cut theft visibility. Your server room should be in a low-risk spot with multiple security layers, typically with card access, PIN codes, and biometric controls like fingerprint or retinal scanners. Landscaping can help too. Thorny bushes deter climbers, while different types of bollards protect against vehicles. Fixed bollards are permanent barriers, while retractable ones allow authorized access. Your home has locks, maybe an alarm. It's the same concept, just scaled up. Now, windows and walls need attention. Windows are the weak spots. They're easy to break. You can use shock sensors for vibrations or glass break sensors for shattering noises. One good glass break sensor can cover a whole room, so these could be a more cost-effective option, where you would need a shock sensor for every window pane you need to protect. Now, that being said, glass break sensors wouldn't work well if the area is noisy, since they rely on listening for the sound of glass breaking. With walls, you should build these solid to secure sensitive areas. The construction here matters. You can use reinforced concrete or steel-studded construction rated for security applications. They should also go from the floor to the true ceiling, without any drop ceiling gaps. In data centers with raised floors, walls must start at the real floor too, with proper fireproofing and intrusion resistance ratings. Alright, now let's wrap up this objective and review a few key takeaways for our physical security design. Strategic site selection is crucial as the location of a facility affects its overall security posture. Factors like visibility, accessibility, and proximity to potential threats must be carefully considered here. Crime prevention through environmental design, or CPTED principles, have been shown to be effective in deterring criminal behavior. Thoughtful design of the physical environment can make it less appealing and more difficult for anyone thinking about breaking in. Layered defenses are required to create a robust security system. Multiple barriers, both physical and technological, provide depth and make it harder for threats to breach the facility. And last but definitely not least here, the safety and security of people must always be the top priority, even above the protection of physical assets. A people-first approach ensures that security measures are designed with human factors in mind. Now, for our last objective today, exam objective 3.9, we're diving deeper into physical security with physical security controls, the essential systems and equipment that protect our facilities. These controls fall into three critical categories, each playing a vital role in comprehensive security. First, we have controls that deter and prevent. Think fences topped with razor wire, reinforced doors with electronic locks, and security guards at checkpoints. These are your first line of defense, designed to stop threats before they become problems. Next up are detection controls. This includes your CCTV systems, motion sensors, glass break detectors, and intrusion detection alarms. They work 24/7 to spot any security breaches or suspicious activity. And finally, we have controls for correct, assess, and respond. These include your security response teams, incident management procedures, and emergency protocols. When something happens, these ensure swift and appropriate action. Here's the key. These controls don't work in isolation. Your cameras spot an intruder, alarms sound, and response teams deploy. It's this integration that creates real security. We also build in redundancy. If one system fails, others are there to pick up the slack. But remember this above all else, and you're probably tired of hearing me say it by now, but safety always comes first. Whether it's fire alarms, emergency exits, or evacuation procedures, protecting human life trumps protecting assets every time. Now let's dig deeper into each type of control. Perimeter security is your facility's first line of defense, combining physical barriers with detection systems. Let's start with fencing. You've got options from basic chain link to heavy-duty welded mesh and imposing palisade fencing, each topped with deterrents like barbed wire. But don't forget lighting. Bright perimeter illumination works with your fences to not only discourage nighttime intruders, but it can also give your cameras a clearer view. Gates control the flow. Maybe a guard checks IDs, or a simple keycard lets you inside. While perimeter intrusion detection systems, or PIDS, monitor for breach attempts. Smart landscaping plays a role too. Thorny bushes and natural barriers can supplement your physical security. Then there's bollards, those tough posts outside banks or courthouses that stop vehicles from plowing through. It's all about defense in depth, each element working together. Your PIDS alerts to a breach, cameras confirm it, lights expose the threat, and physical barriers buy time for response. It's simple, strong, and layered. That's how you set the tone and send a clear, "not today" message to intruders. Now, access control is all about who gets in and where they go. Let's break it down by type and use case. Now, basic mechanical locks, these are your classic keys. They're cheap but vulnerable to lockpicking and hard to track when keys go missing. Electronic locks step it up with keycards or pins, giving you audit trails and quick updates when someone leaves. For stronger security, we layer our authentication factors with multi-factor authentication, which includes 2 or more different factors. Something you know, like a password or a PIN, something you have, like a mobile device or a token, and something you are, which includes biometrics. Now, biometric systems bring the big guns. Fingerprints or retina scans offer killer security, though they're pricey and they might raise privacy flags for those required to use it. It's worth it for high security areas, but it might be overkill for access to the break room. And then there's man traps. This includes 2 sets of doors. One set of doors locks before the other set of doors opens. These are perfect for data centers or secure labs. These integrate with your existing security systems to stop tailgating and piggybacking. They're expensive but essential for high-stakes areas. Now for the administration of these controls, you've got two choices here. Centralized is where one team manages all access. This has great control, but it could be a potential bottleneck. Or there's decentralized, where there's a department-level control. This option is flexible, but it might be harder to standardize. Remember, match the method to your unique business needs and budget. A basic key card might work fine for most offices, but your server room might need some extra layers. Layer up with cards, pins, and maybe a biometric scan. It's all about right-sizing your security investment. Now let's talk about a sneaky threat. ATM skimming. Criminals slap fake card readers on ATMs or gas pump payment systems to snag your credit or debit card data. You swipe and they steal your card information and PIN. Next thing you know, your bank account is empty. So how do you catch it? You can give the reader a tug. If it's wobbly, it might be trouble. Look for hidden cameras above or around the keypad. Criminals can use these to capture your PIN number. And then check the keypad for typos or if it looks or feels unusual. Crooks aren't always the best at paying attention to the small details. Now, if it freezes after your PIN, run to your bank. Modern defenses include EMV chip cards, which are harder to clone than magnetic strips, and banks installing anti-skimming devices that detect tampering. For extra security, use contactless or mobile payments when possible. And remember, tamper-proof technology and regular security checks are the key to securing these public machines. Now, surveillance and detection are your facility's eyes and ears. CCTV cameras need strategic placement. Corners should give clear views of entry points in high-traffic areas. Modern high-definition cameras can capture faces clearly from 50 or more feet away, but only with proper lighting and positioning. A pro tip here is to avoid backlit areas that might create silhouettes. Now, motion sensors, particularly passive infrared, they work by detecting body heat, but their placement is crucial. Keep them away from HVAC vents and heaters, which could create false positives. Direct sunlight can blind the sensor. In areas with rapid temperature changes, like the drastic weather changes in Texas. Lighting is your force multiplier, bright, uniform illumination. It makes cameras more effective, and it creates contrast for motion detection. It eliminates hiding spots, and it deters intruders psychologically. The key here is integration. Your cameras, sensors, and lights should all work as a team. For example, motion sensors can trigger lights and camera recording, while proper lighting ensures those cameras capture usable footage. When properly coordinated, these systems create overlapping layers of security that are much harder to defeat than any single component alone. Now, environmental controls protect both your people and technology. HVAC systems are crucial. They should maintain a temperature between 68 and 77 degrees Fahrenheit, and humidity between 45 and 55% in server rooms. Nobody wants sweaty gear or staff. Smart data centers use hot and cold aisle configurations to maximize cooling efficiency. Power infrastructure is also vital. UPS systems can handle quick outages with 3 types of options. There's standby, line interactive, or online. Generators can kick in for long-term backup, which is necessary for places like hospitals. And power distribution units, or PDUs, can distribute power efficiently across racks. Environmental monitoring systems track temperature and humidity sensors, water leak detection, airflow measurements, and power usage. For fire safety, BESDA smoke detectors can give early warnings. Remove flammables for prevention. Gas suppression systems can save your high-value technology, and water sprinklers are the more cost-effective option, but they can damage your equipment. Remember, environmental controls need redundancy. Back up your HVAC, have multiple power sources, and constant monitoring. These are all essential for critical facilities. Now here's a critical data center concept: positive pressurization. Imagine pumping air in a balloon. The pressure is higher inside than it is on the outside. This is especially important for sensitive areas like data centers and clean rooms. Why? Well, think about what happens when you release the opening to that balloon. The air inside pushes out. It's the same concept here. When you open a door to the clean room, clean air blasts out, creating an invisible barrier that keeps dust, dirt, and other contaminants from sneaking in. It's part of a comprehensive environmental control strategy, working alongside temperature and humidity management to maintain the perfect conditions for your equipment. There's no need for fancy filters. It's a budget-friendly way to keep servers spotless and helps meet compliance requirements for certain types of facilities. It's a smart play for maintaining both air quality and regulatory compliance without breaking the bank. Now let's shine a light on the backbone, your infrastructure support systems. These critical systems also need comprehensive protection. Power systems are non-negotiable here. Servers will die without power. Implement redundant power supplies like UPS systems and generators with regular testing schedules. Monitor your power quality and usage 24/7. Internet connectivity requires redundant providers and diverse routing paths. You also need to lock down the wiring closets and monitor network performance constantly. One wire snip can take you offline immediately, so implement physical security controls like access cards and surveillance. Cooling infrastructure demands redundant systems too. Water-cooled data centers need leak detection and emergency shutoffs. A busted pipe can fry your systems. Monitor the temperature, humidity, and flow rates continuously. All these systems need strict maintenance schedules, access controls, and constant surveillance. Regular testing of backup systems is crucial. Remember, these are prime attack targets. Protect them with multiple layers of physical and electronic security. Now moving on to fire safety systems. Fire safety is a comprehensive system of prevention, detection, and suppression, with human as the top priority. Now remember, a fire needs 3 elements to survive: fuel, oxygen, and heat. When it comes to fire safety, the goal is to eliminate one of these 3 elements from the equation. Prevention starts with regular inspections, proper storage of flammable materials, electrical system maintenance, and clear evacuation routes with visible signage. For detection, we've got multiple layers. Flame detectors use infrared or UV sensors to spot fires. Now these are effective, but if you're seeing flames, it's a little bit late in the game. Smoke detectors come in different varieties. Ionization detectors for fast fires, photoelectric detectors for smoldering fires, and the very early smoke detection apparatus, or VESDA, that can catch smoke at the earliest stages. Heat detectors track temperature spikes, which are reliable, but they're slower. All of these systems integrate with central monitoring and require battery backups for reliability. Now, when it comes to fire suppression, you've got choices. There's water-based sprinkler systems that include wet pipe, where the water is always ready to flow, dry pipe, where the water fills only when it's needed, pre-action, it arms first, and deluge floods everything. These are all great for most situations, but they can destroy your electronics. So these areas need special consideration. Gas-based systems like Energen or FM200 are perfect for server rooms. They kill fires without damaging equipment. But keep in mind that gas systems require immediate evacuation to protect the people. For portable extinguishers, know your classes for different fire types. Class A is for wood or paper. Class B for liquids. Class C for electrical. Now, CO2 is excellent here, but use it with caution in confined spaces, as it depletes oxygen in the air and can be harmful to human life. Class D is for metals, and Class K is for kitchen fires. Regular testing and maintenance are crucial. Document all inspections, maintain testing schedules, and ensure staff are trained on fire safety procedures. Consider your facility type, costs, and environmental impact when selecting the systems that best meet your needs. Now, critical areas need comprehensive protection strategies. Your wiring closets should be locked up tight. Network gear can be a jackpot for an intruder. Secure them with electronic access control and maintain detailed access logs. Server rooms are at the heart of your data center. Implement multi-factor authentication, combining biometrics like a fingerprint scan, something you have like an access card, and something you know like a PIN. Add 24/7 camera surveillance with motion detection. Install environmental monitoring systems to track the temperature, humidity, and keep an eye out for water leaks. Media storage needs fireproof, flood-proof safes, plus strict inventory control. For restricted areas, enforce visitor management. Authorized escorts only with sign-in and sign-out procedures and temporary badges. Have emergency access procedures ready but secure, like break glass key boxes with tamper alarms. Remember, all access needs to be logged and audited regularly. Treat your critical areas like a bank vault. Layer up the defenses and document everything in your golden. Now let's summarize the key points about physical security controls. Remember to think in layers, from your outside perimeter through access controls, detection systems, all the way to environmental protections. The golden rule is that human safety always comes first. On the exam, think about how you can match specific controls to threats. For example, use man traps to prevent tailgating, or gas suppression systems for server room fires. Physical security controls come in 3 different types: deterrent and preventative controls like fences, locks, or security guards. Detection controls such as CCTV, sensors, or alarms. And response controls, which include your security teams and incident procedures. Key components of physical security controls include perimeter security with layered defenses like fencing, lighting, and perimeter intrusion detection systems. Access control methods ranging from basic locks to biometrics and man traps. Surveillance systems with strategic camera placement and lighting. Environmental controls for temperature, humidity, and power management. And don't forget the fire safety systems with prevention, detection, and suppression capabilities. For critical areas like server rooms, you need comprehensive protection including MFA, environmental monitoring, and strict access logging. And remember, while protecting assets is important, the safety of human life always takes priority over everything else. Alright, we've crushed it today. It's time for the big recap. Here's what you need to lock in from today. Exam Objective 3.7 says to understand methods of cryptanalytic attacks. Cryptanalysis is your code-breaking crash course. Attackers use everything from brute force to side channel tricks to crack encryption. Watch out for man-in-the-middle, replay, ransomware, and Kerberos hash-stealing moves like golden tickets. Know these to design bulletproof systems. Then Exam Objective 3.8 says to apply security principles to site and facility design. Physical security starts with a smart site. Think visibility, access control, and resilience against floods or earthquakes. CPTED makes crime a headache with open sightlines and thorny bushes, while security surveys spot risks like theft or espionage. People come first, always, so design spaces that keep everyone safe and sound. Finally, we covered Exam Objective 3.9, which is to design site and facility security controls. Layer it up here. Fences deter, cameras detect, and guards respond, all working together like a team. From biometric locks to gas-based fire suppression, match your controls to specific threats. And don't skimp on protecting server rooms or wiring closets. Safety is king. Fire alarms and HVAC aren't just for extra gear, they exist to save lives. Now there's your golden trio. Nail these for the exam and the real world. Whether it's stopping a hacker or locking down a data center, you're ready. Keep that fire going. You've got this. Now that concludes our topics today. If you need to revisit anything, don't sweat. These recordings will remain on YouTube, and I'll add chapters post-stream to jump to specific sections. Mastering this is one step on your CISSP path. These ideas will resurface in other domains, so keep connecting them to real-world management scenarios. Stay curious, keep practicing, you're doing awesome. Now, if you're ready for the after party, I'm heading to our Study GRC Discord server's CISSP voice channel right now. It's perfect for questions, insights, and connecting with the community. If you're not in the Discord yet, visit cissp.britwhite.io for the link to join, and grab your CISSP role for full access to our study channels. Our next session will be Tuesday, April 15th at 6 p.m. U.S. Central Time. We'll be finishing up Domain 3 with Security Architecture and Engineering. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in Discord.